Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about our schedule and what that looks like for our homeschool. Sometimes we change a lot of things in our homeschool and we really build our schedule around extracurricular activities as well. And maybe not just extracurriculars. I have a daughter who also does speech therapy, so we have to factor that in. Our schedule is very specific to our needs, my teaching style, my girls' learning styles, our time, the distance, all the things, extracurriculars, electives. We build our learning around that. So I want you to keep that in mind as I'm sharing with you the flow of our schedule. And I'm going to start with big picture and then I'll shrink it down. And I'm going to do this more of a conversation style because it can be really kind of confusing when you start seeing a bunch of different material and all the things. And I've done that before. But I think that this is a little bit more of a simpler way to kind of help people get a broad understanding of our schedule on a regular basis. So we do have a very specific lifestyle when it comes to extracurriculars. Having three daughters, all of them are in some activities all the time. We get our break usually in the summer, and then that's when we go into like different camps and interests that they have. So that's how that typically goes for us. Some other things that we do a different rotation, and it is a little different this year than what it was last year. And that's all just based off of learning what works for us and what doesn't work for us. My name is Morgan here at the Life of Tillmans. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been here before, welcome back. The first thing I'm going to do is share extracurricular activities that my girls are involved in. I'll start with my oldest. She is 12, seventh grade. Right now, she is doing volleyball. She also is doing band, and I'll share more about that. But she's doing band as well. And for her, that is it. She recently just stopped basketball. So we're kind of in that period where we just have one sport and then some other extracurriculars for her. That is all. My middle daughter, I would say that she's doing volleyball, even though she is not playing. She still does everything with the team. She goes to every practice, she goes to every game. That's just what she is doing right now. So she is doing volleyball. She is also a part of a robotics team. They are going into competition as of this week. So that is another thing that she is involved in. She will also do like soccer in the spring. She will go into coding at the library in the spring. So we have quite a bit on our plates. But for now, she has two activities, volleyball and robotics competition. My youngest daughter is doing, oh, she's also in band. My middle daughter is doing band. And then my youngest daughter has gymnastics right now. She also has band. She also does speech therapy. And she is now enrolled in an online charter school. And this really helps with her speech therapy and the cost offset. And it's great. They provide those services for that. We are still using the exact same curriculums and all the things that we've always been doing. But that's an additional service that she's able to get, and with that, she will also be going to learning groups. And it's very similar to a co-op. And she will go with about 10 other students into a classroom for about 3 hours on Wednesdays, one day a week. She also is in band as well. So honestly, she probably has the most activities going on right now, and that's okay. She's in that growth period where she needs a little bit more interaction. The age gap between my youngest and my middle is about 4 years, and that's big. That's a pretty big gap. And so she needs to be around some people that are closer to her age. I think it's a huge benefit for her. And we just can't do that at home with the girls so spread out. My oldest two are like a year and a half apart. So, it's them. They can like ride out and be good. So I just added that in for her. So that's just a rundown of extra activities that we have going on right now. So as far as our schedule, I do still do the calendar where I mark off specific dates that we're out, and I will show you guys exactly what that calendar looks like. Okay, guys, here is my monthly calendar. I will link down below where I got this. I always just find it online for free. But as I said before, we are going to be doing 5 weeks on, 1 week off. So anytime you see these long weeks, that is one of our full weeks. Now, some of these fell in awkward times. This is when we'll be doing something else. So I went ahead and took that week off. Then we have Christmas here. So everything in blue, and I always do color coding. So anything in blue is an off day, anything in purple are birthdays, and then we have holidays, and then our start and stop. So I changed our start date to the 15th because it originally was set for the 1st, and then our stop date will be the 30th. I calculated this, and this may be off by a couple of days, but I have us at 175 days for the year. And this is a calendar that I keep so that we know when we're taking off. We have some other random days off for like volleyball and things like that in there, some additional trips. But this is our yearly view for the schedule for the 2024-2025 school year. And I wanted to talk more about the 175 days. I know most states require 180 days. I'm sure that we will have to use some of these days that we have off to do schoolwork. The state of Oklahoma does not require 180 days, it is a suggested number. But also, the curriculum that we are using, the items that we actually want to finish, like our math and our language arts, maybe our grammar work, even science and history, we would like to get those done within the calendar year to keep us on track for our specific plan for our homeschool. So I will probably make some adjustments in here somewhere and maybe cut off a day or so for some of these weeks that we have off, and possibly even go into the month of June in order to get us covered for finishing the curriculum. So, as I said before, our schedule is really built around activities. I am going to give you guys what the first 16 weeks of our homeschool is going to look like, because that is when we have a lot going on with volleyball and robotics competition as well, which take us out multiple days during the week. After that, our schedule will change. And so I'm just going to give you the first 16 weeks. One of the things that we are doing differently this year that we did not do last year is last year we did 7 weeks on and we took an eighth week off. While that was good, it was a little too long for us. We got burned out really, really quickly. So, as I showed you guys on the calendar, we are going to be doing 5 weeks on and 1 week off. So, every 6 weeks, we will have a full week break. There was a change up at the beginning of the school year because we started school a week later. So our first break actually was only after 4 weeks of school, which was great. It was much needed. It fell perfectly. And I did not want to change the rest of the year's calendar because it worked out. God worked it all out that there were some weeks that we really did need to take off because we were already off for different things. And it just really fell perfectly. So I left everything the way that it was prior to us starting school a week late. On top of doing the 5 weeks on and 1 week off, we also have additional breaks in there. We do not school on birthdays. Some people are like, "What?" But we take that very seriously for our family, and we just don't school. It's just a day off, and we do whatever the birthday person wants to do. Sometimes almost everyone in our family's birthdays may fall on a weekend, and so it doesn't affect our school schedule. And then other times we may have 2 or 3 birthdays that fall during the week. That does affect our schedule. It really just depends on the year, but we do take birthdays off. We also have travel that we do throughout the school year that's not specifically related to a big holiday break. Those things are included in there as well. We still take holiday time off, and things just come up. You guys, there's field trips and people get sick, and so those days are going to be in there as well at some point, I'm sure. Buffer days is what I will call them. And that's okay. We can always say, okay, we need to make up an extra day of school. Instead of taking this full week off, we'll only take 3 days off. There's flexibility in it whenever it is needed. We can make those adjustments. And I build our educational schedule, like how we go about our curriculum, based on the 5 weeks on and the 1 week off, adding in field trips and all the things. It has always worked out. So if it's confusing, just let me know. Put the questions down in the comments and I will do my very, very best to explain it. Sometimes explaining these types of things can be a little challenging, but I want to be able to share with you guys what we do and hopefully it makes sense in the process. So that is a look at our like broad schedule for the year, and then getting into the 16 weeks, it looks a little bit different. Our busiest days every week are Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And that is because band is on Tuesdays. We also will have coding on Tuesdays, and we have volleyball games on Tuesdays as well. Wednesdays are busy because that is the time that Mallory goes to her learning groups. She has gymnastics. We also have volleyball practice on Tuesdays, or not Tuesdays, on Wednesdays. And so those days can be busy. Oh, speech therapy is also on Tuesdays. So those days are a little bit busy. We're out of the house a little bit more. And that's why I really try to schedule those things on those days. If I can get in everything that I need to do on those 2 days that are outside of the house, it's really helpful because then we're not back and forth every single day of the week, which is really exhausting to me. I do not like doing that. I like to have at least one day where I can stay in my house until 3 o'clock and not have to go anywhere. Well, with the volleyball schedule, I don't have much control over that, but typically Fridays are the days that we can stay in the house all day long and we don't have to go anywhere. There's no appointments or anything like that. Another thing that I forgot right now, my middle daughter is also doing physical therapy twice a week. So that's something that we've had to add into the schedule over the last couple of weeks. And we're getting up and we're going to PT at like 7 o'clock in the morning before we get our full day started. It's hard, but we're making it work for right now. And it's just a season. Those things will fade away. That's one thing that'll fade away. You know, things come and go. And so I really try to make sure that this schedule is something that is doable and just not too chaotic, and it still gives us downtime. So let's talk about like our daily flow. So on Mondays, it could be where we need to leave at 12:30 in order to get to practice by 1 o'clock, or we may have to leave the house at 2 so that we can get to a game by 3 o'clock. It all just really depends on the game schedule and practice schedule. If we have a split day, Monday and Wednesday are practice days. If we have to leave the house at 12:30 for practice between 1 and 3, we will finish our homeschool day when we get home. So we go through and we do everything that we need to do up until 12 o'clock. We leave the house 12:30. We get back home usually 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then we get started back with school, dinner, bedtime. If we have a game, then we go to the game and we finish up pretty much everything that we can by 2, 2:15. We go to the game. We are usually at games until about 6, and depending on how far it is, we may get home around 7. If the girls have any work to do, usually it's just independent work because we do our history in the morning. We also do science in the morning. We do Bible in the morning as well. I work with my youngest daughter and try to get everything that she needs done by 12 because she is usually like checked out by that time. I wake up typically between 6 and 7. I'm really working on just a natural wake up without an alarm, just whatever my normal body clock is telling me to do, which it's taking an adjustment because I'm having to go to bed earlier and I'm still waking up a little bit earlier than what I normally would. So I'm just trying to regulate everything and not wake up to an alarm. It's very relaxing for me to not have to wake up to an alarm, but I know that that's not always realistic. But any days I can just wake up on my own, that is what I do. I wake up, my prayer time, Bible time, gym, exercise, get all ready. I am not on breakfast duty. My middle daughter does breakfast duty, and she's typically up around 6:45 or 7 o'clock every morning, just because that's what she wants to do. She will get up and she will start on independent work. My oldest daughter likes to sleep in a little bit later, but she's always out of bed by 8. We do breakfast at 8:30. Baby girl wakes up whenever she wants to. It could be 6:45, it could be 8:15. It just depends. But if she wakes up around 7, 7:30, I go ahead and I start work with her until breakfast time. So that's our morning flow. We sit down, we have breakfast, we do some little discussion, maybe discuss a Bible verse. We have like these scripture discussion cards or things like a flip book on our kitchen table. And then once we're done, everybody gets in and cleans up. We do World Watch News, which is about 15 minutes. We watch 10 minutes and then we talk about what we, just heard and learned. Then we go into Bible time. We are doing scripture memory journals. So everyone kind of just spreads out. I work with my youngest daughter. We do scripture. We are also learning the books of the Bible. So we go over a couple of songs to do that. And then after that, we go into, we've cleaned up the kitchen as well. After that, we go into science and then history. History is only done Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do science Monday through Friday. So we'll go into science. We do our science experiments. Then we go into history and we do all the reading that goes along with history and any geography work that's necessary, any creative writing. And each one of those subjects usually takes us about 45 minutes or so. So by this time, it's maybe like 11:15 or so, somewhere in that range. And I will start working again with my youngest daughter. My older daughters go into independent work, and that is their reading curriculum, math. Let's see, they're doing like sentence diagramming, editor in chief, things like that, spelling, vocabulary. They don't need me for those things. And so they go into their independent work. I stop and I start working on lunch maybe around 11:45. We will get lunch, and typically we have to pack lunch if it's a practice day. If not, we will all sit down at the table, do lunch, read some history if we didn't get to a history read aloud, or sometimes we just like to talk. Sometimes we don't like to talk. It just depends on the day. But we typically always have lunch at 12. The girls will get a snack in maybe like 10:30. It just depends on what they had for breakfast. After that, if we don't have volleyball, then we'll stay home and we do all the things that we need to do until it's time for us to leave for a game. But I'm usually done in the afternoon, maybe about 1 o'clock, if I still have some lingering things to do with my youngest daughter. And my oldest girls will continue to do their independent work. I am still available to them for independent work, but I do not sit with them to do it all. If they have questions, of course, I answer them. They read off their vocabulary words to me so that I can make sure that they're being pronounced correctly. If they have any math questions, anything like that. So that's typically our flow. And you have to look at that as I try to keep all of those things in the same order, no matter what breaks up our day. So if we have to leave for volleyball, we still go until that 12 o'clock time, and then we break for volleyball. Then we come home and we pick up where we left off. And that has really worked well for us. So far, based on the volleyball schedule, we have not had to cut any subjects out. Are there nights where my oldest girls are sitting down doing vocabulary work at 8:45 at night? Absolutely. But that's the price to pay when you are doing extra things. They are okay with that. Otherwise, we would have to cut out our extra activities in order for them to be done. It's like 3 o'clock or something. And that's just not our lives. So we are okay with breaking it up. But the reason why I do the family subjects at the beginning of the day is so that in the evening, I can do things that I need to do and my girls can do their independent work. I do check everything. There are some things that I check daily, like their math. I think it's immediate feedback that they need and assistance with that. And I try not to have it carry over to the next day. Some other things like vocabulary, spelling, I will look at those the next day. They do check their own work, but I'm looking at it, number one, to make sure that it's been completed. Number two, to see what they missed and why, and we can discuss those things. And that's pretty much it. I trust that they are doing what they need to do, and their grades reflect whether they understand something or don't understand it. So, as far as my youngest daughter, we're really working on reading, grammar, phonics, math. Those are her basic things. She does map work, and we kind of squeeze those things in here or there. I know that for math and reading, I really need to get those things done in the morning or early afternoon because she will check out on me and she's just not there. We do a lot of gameplay. I do get up and do a lot of moving around with her, and it has worked out really good for us as far as the schedule goes. I know that we are just getting into the volleyball season with the activities and robotics competition season, and there probably will be some weekend school. I am committed to helping them maintain what is a realistic schedule. As I said, so far, we have not had to cut out anything and they have managed to get everything done. One thing that we're really working on for this year is just general focus and making sure that we're staying focused on what it is that we need to do, the task at hand. And these are things that they requested to do. So I don't have a problem providing that for them, but there's just a level of focus that we have to have in order for our days to run smoothly. And volleyball is really taxing. It's a lot. We have weeks where we're doing volleyball Monday through Thursday, sometimes Monday through Friday. We have weekend tournaments. And so if for some reason they start to, I guess I would say, fall behind, it's really not fall behind because that's how we would end up with Saturday school, is what I would say. And that they need to make up an assignment. Maybe they didn't get their math assignment done on that Wednesday, and so now they have Thursday, Friday, and then they have a Saturday day. I forgot to mention too, for math, both of my older girls are only doing math 4 days a week for the volleyball season. We typically look ahead at the week, and ideally we want to schedule that off day for math on the busiest day that they have for that week, which makes it work out great. Once volleyball season is over, we will switch back to 5 days a week. So that's something that we're not super strict about right now. But everything else is going really well. Saxon math can take a little bit of time. So that's one of the reasons why we're like 4 days a week. That gives them a little buffer day in there. So if they miss Monday, then they still have Tuesday through Friday to get it done, and possibly Saturday if they miss another day for some reason. But that hasn't happened so far. I don't have timestamps, and the reason is because we have things that come up, things that interrupt our day. So I can't tell you that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we are doing independent subjects at 1 p.m. because we may not even be here. We're likely gone to volleyball practice or headed to a game. So I can't necessarily say that these are specific time stamps. What I did before we really got into the volleyball season is I made sure to time us to see how long a math lesson is taking my girls, how long a science lesson and history lessons are going to take them, how long my daughter's reading curriculum, she's using the Mostas Press, is taking her every day. She's also doing IEW and what that time frame looks like. So I made sure to keep up with those timestamps, and that helps me to know how much time we need throughout our days and whether or not we can have a certain amount done before we have to leave at 12 or 12:30. That's really, really important to me. I've done that for the last 3 years and it has worked out great. So we have a flow, as I said, and we keep the same order of the material. Independent subjects, my girls get to choose the order that they want to do those in. I always advise them to do math first because it seems to be the one that, really takes a lot out of them. They can read and do that just fine. Grammar has not been super hard for them by any means. And so I will say that I feel like math takes the most mental work for my girls. So I always encourage them to do math first. Now, whether they choose to do that or not, that's completely up to them. It's just an advisement from me, and they can take it or leave it. But they are required to get their assignments done each and every day, and they have that buffer day on Saturdays. So another thing that people ask when it comes to schedule is like, how do you manage your home? How do you keep your home clean? What does cooking look like? What schedule are you guys on? And honestly, during volleyball season, we have a minimal cleaning schedule. Does this mean that we don't clean often? No, it just means as far as scheduling the cleaning things, it's almost like trying to schedule start and stop times for our assignments. It doesn't happen. We do things once a week. We do certain things every single day, but it may not be the exact same week. I mean, the same day every week based off of the schedule. For example, bathrooms. We clean our bathrooms once a week. One week, it might be a Tuesday, and the next week, it may not be until that Friday. So that's a little bit longer than a week in between. It all just depends on what we have going on. If I say we're going to clean the bathroom every Thursday, and then we have a game that we have to be to at 1 o'clock, and we don't get home until 8 or 9 o'clock, the bathroom is not getting cleaned. So we have to be flexible with those things. However, it is this week, the bathroom needs to be done. Let's get it done on this day as we look ahead to our schedule. Things that are done every single day are our kitchen. 100%. It is cleaned, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, all the things. Floor, refrigerator, microwave. We don't have a microwave anymore, but microwave, things like that, knobs, handles, wiped all down, all the dishes clean, run the dishwasher, dishes put away, food cooked, prepped. That is every single day in our home. We only right now run our vacuum once a week. We just don't have the time to do it. Our schoolroom is cleaned every day at the end of the day because that is our working area where we keep a lot of our things, and it just cannot be messy. Who wants to get up and start their school day with a messy schoolroom? Even though we school downstairs at the table for science and history and Bible in the morning, and then for family or for independent stuff, we come upstairs. So that's kind of just how we flow in our house. So we have bathrooms, we have kitchen, we have schoolroom. Let's see what else. I pick up, and my youngest daughter picks up in the living room and the hallway every day, and we're sweeping the floors in the kitchen every single day, multiple times a day, because we're in there eating. But other areas of our home, it's like once a week or once every 2 weeks, just depending on what it is. If you want to know like a home maintenance schedule for us and kind of how we flow through that, let me know and I can give you that. And as I said, it won't be where we do everything on Thursday or this is always done on Saturday, that type of thing, just because of how our lives are right now. But we do switch our schedule after volleyball season. Things change for us and we go to what I would consider to be more of a normal schedule. It still may not be normal for some people, but for us, it turns into a normal schedule. And that's how we maintain our home. I want to encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel and stick around because I'm going to share with you how we're moving through the ELA components for my seventh grader with all of the things that she has going on. And that has been a really big thing. And also, I'm going to share with you guys like how I have prepared myself for our different curricula because we actually did add in quite a few different curricula this school year. So that's our schedule. See you guys later.